Dr. Phillips was here for a meeting and we decided to collaborate to really talk about this. She told you her story, and I just want to tell you my story because it's not easy for me to write either. I've grown to become a good writer, but it took a lot of effort and I still need to do that. So I want to talk about overcoming my own writing and researching blocks. In 1985, I was married and I had one daughter, Catherine, who was 8 months old. Do you like my glasses? Pretty awesome. So there I am. I was married, I had a baby. I decided to go to school, so I started school. So I decided, okay, how am I going to manage this? The first thing was I needed excellent and affordable child care because I had a little girl. So I got that squared away. Then the fear part was horrific. My first course was called the American Romance Novel. I felt like I had landed on Mars because I had no idea what they were talking about. They were using all these big words. You saw Dr. Phillips' piece there. I didn't understand the terminology. I thought immediately, I can't do this. I'm too old. I don't know. They're all knowing all this stuff. I know nothing. I was totally stressed and freaked out. So I had to decide, I'm going to do this, and I had to overcome those fears. The other thing I had to do is I had to manage my time. And so I had to figure out, okay, so what can I do in a life that's crazy? How do I manage small chunks of time, and how do I get larger chunks of time? What night could I go to the library? What could I do if I had a half an hour when I needed to write a paper? How could I manage my time? So I just sit down the calendar and do that. Then the other thing I had to do is I had to put on blinders, just like a horse. I had to give up things that I didn't want to give up, but I just had to decide, okay, I will do my family, I'll do my job, and I'll do school. The other thing I was advised to do, which was one of the smartest things anybody ever told me to do, they said, pick something from the beginning, a theme, an idea, and use it throughout your schooling. The other thing I had to figure out is how much is too much research and how much is too little. And I also had to be willing when it was not enough to get help from the librarians. So I had to really figure out the whole research thing. The other thing I had to figure out is I had to figure out the writing process. Dr. Phillips said earlier that she had to rewrite a chapter 6 times. She said she spent 2 years working on something that she had to dump. I was spending all this time editing the great stuff that I thought it was, and then I would end up having to cut it from the final portions. So I had to learn, when do I rewrite, when do I draft, when do I revise, when do I proofread, when do I edit, when do I show it to somebody, etc. So I started with that little girl in the backpack. She was 8 years old. Here she is, and by then now she's got a sister and a brother. And I made her go with me to the office to drop off. Ladies and gentlemen, I found it. Here it is, from 1994, onion skin paper in a plastic bag. I kept it. Why? Because this is 8 years of my life. All right? So keep some of your artifacts.
So what did you learn from your process?
I learned that writing and researching is just so amazingly stressful and difficult. And I don't care how long you do it, you gotta revise. You gotta redo, rethink. It's constant, constant, constant. But it's marvelous when you finally are able to hold your products and show up your degree and be a role model for your kids. I mean, come on, and proud of yourselves.